CEDH time here. This is Braden. I wanted to go over the Krark SIlas deck list that I play on Spell Table. This is my favorite deck list, and it is absolutely amazing. I think it's the best deck list in the format, but of course people disagree. Now, I would not play this casually. This is definitely a CEDH deck list. Let's dive into it. I have gone ahead and put these things into categories here. Of course, we have the ramp. You're going to notice here real quickly that none of this ramp costs 2 mana. It's all, except for Arcane Signet, of course, but it's all 1 mana or free. I don't have Desperate Ritual in here. You don't need it. Culling the Weak, it's nice to have because sometimes you want to sacrifice Krark, and this allows you to do that. If you can't bait the table into killing Krark, then you want to Culling the Weak Krark a lot of the time. Dark Ritual is good. Rite of Flame is good. Now, if you have a Rite of Flame versus a Desperate Ritual, for example, here, the Desperate Ritual costs 2 to cast, you get 3 back. So if if Krark says yes, you spend 2 mana to get 6, where here you spend 1 mana to get 4. So if you lose the first coin flip, you're spending 2 mana to get 4, where if you lose the first coin flip, you're spending 4 mana to get 6. So the ratio is better here. It's always better to have the 1 CMC ramps spells. So that's why we have that. Tutors, we only have 3 tutors, and you might think to yourself, that's not very many tutors. Well, guess what? I tutor all the freaking time, okay? And you'll see why in a little bit. But you don't really need more than this. This is all you need. I would not be running Imp Seal anymore. I don't, because Ragavan's just too dominant, and Imp Seal is just too slow nowadays. So I don't run it. Now we have our main thing here is Magecraft outlets. I don't run Sakashima. I don't run Roaming Throne. We have Magecraft outlets. Of course, before we get too deep into this, the card draw engine here: War Upon a Wind, Mystic, Overmaster, Study, One Ring, Twister, and Wheel. These are all pretty standard. Of course, I have the Underworld Breach LED Brain Freeze combos. We have the Saw in Half, Bowmasters, Dualcaster Mage combos, Twin Flame, Dualcaster Mage combos. All the basic Grixis good stuff happening here in this deck list. And then it has all the special stuff. The special stuff is the Magecraft stuff. All this Magecraft stuff is super underrated, and I think it's the most powerful way to play Magic in 2025. So what I mean by that is Infinite Magecraft. Veyrin also copies Krark's abilities, which is really cool. But Magecraft, this can also just take someone out of the game completely. If they don't have any blockers, all of a sudden they're just dead on their turn. If you have Infinite Magecraft, Stormkiln Artist, Infinite Magecraft, you get Infinite Treasures. Sedgemoor Witch, Infinite Magecraft, you get Infinite 1/1s. And when they die, you gain life. You gain 1 life. The cool thing about this, people always ask me, well, why is this one in your deck? Doesn't this kind of seem slow? Isn't this not very that good? Like, this is actually great. This is fodder for Culling the Weak. This is just getting extra bodies on the field, so that way you protect yourself as well as apply damage to other people to pressure life totals. This also, in Rule of Law games where you can only cast 1 spell per turn, if you get one of the many ways in your deck to make a copy of a spell, you get Infinite Magecraft triggers, even though you're only casting 1 spell per turn. If any one of the 3 players casts any instant or sorcery spell, and you cast a fork, and your Krark says yes to the fork being copied, now you have Infinite Magecraft triggers, and then on your turn, you just swing out and win the game. So you can actually take advantage of the Rule of Law effects in this deck. A lot of times people will think to themselves, man, if there's a Krark, I need to put a Rule of Law on the field to stop him from casting spells. Well, actually, I don't mind, because I'll just play Sedgemoor Witch and then win the game with Sedgemoor Witch and getting infinite creatures. I have a Ral. This is great. Infinite Magecraft means that you get to do infinite 1/1 damage to target opponents or players. Or planeswalkers. He also has the awesome Neg 2 ability to copy your next instant or sorcery spell. And so he also enables, just like a Dual Strike, Dual Casting, Teach by Example, and Twin Inferno. All of these right here basically do what Krark's ability does. So whenever you cast next instant or sorcery spell, you make a copy of it. That's what Krark does, just with a coin flip. So these are amazing in the deck. We go back to Ashlings. This is draw your whole deck, win the game. This is Archmage Emeritus, draw your whole deck, win the game. Now, Ashlings is pretty great. This card's phenomenal. If you play a lot of Krark SIlas, this card is cracked, because it's like baby board wipes. Like Magda players, they're screwed. All their little 1/1s that they have out there, I just cast 1 spell, Krark says yes to it, it makes a copy, now they're all dead. It's really cool. So these cards are really, really good. just as value, and they're also amazing because not only are they value, but they also can like outlet you to win the game. All right, so we have things like Twinferno, Teach by Example, Dual Strike, and Dual Casting. Now, why do I have these? Now, imagine you cast a Teach by Example. Table's like, okay, cool, whatever. It goes through. And then you cast a Krark. And then you cast Jessica's Will. Now your stack is Jessica's Will, Krark Trigger, Teach by Example, copy of Jessica's Will on top of the Krark Trigger. Now you can stack the Krark Trigger wherever you want in there, but that's personally how I like to do it in most instances. There are some times where I do change it up, but most of the time that's how I do it, because then the copy of Jessica's Will resolves before the Krark coin flip. So then what happens is you flip 3 cards over, and you're more than likely going to flip over into another copy spell. And then you can copy the Jessica's Will, the original that's still on the stack, underneath the Krark coin flip. You can even sacrifice your Krark to Flare of Duplication and copy the Jessica's Will, because the modes are already chosen from the first time you cast it, so it sees both modes still, even though you don't control your commander anymore, because you're making a copy of the spell. So it's really, really cool. But that's what the deck does here. This deck storms off with Jessica's Will for value, and then into the Magecraft triggers to win the game, or Thoracle to win the game, or Breachline to win the game. But it's mainly goes around casting Jessica's Will, which is pretty fun. There are some other great value cards like VV, of course, Tavern Scoundrel, Reanimate, Ragavan, Prodigy, Chain of Vapor. Chain of Vapor is pretty good. I like Chain of Vapor because you can sack your own lands to keep making copies. So if you need to make treasures for whatever reason, or you need to get your Ashlings trigger the 3rd time, you can sack lands, get 4 red. That is pretty good, and see a few cards. So Chain of Vapor is really good here. And Burgi, the back side of Burgi is usually what I play. Of course, the front side of Burgi is really, really good. You just don't need the front side as much as you need the back. The back side's way better. And when I say way better, I mean way better. You can basically have the back side of Burgi out, and then you can have Ashling's Flame Dancer on the field as well. You then discard cards to Burgi, and then you cast your free cards, because you have lots of cards that are free to cast, basically. And then those free cards discard you a card, and then draw you a card. And then in response to like more of the triggers happening, you discard the card that you drew to Burgi, to then discard nothing, to then draw another card, to discard another card. And you keep doing this combo until you exile your LED and your Unruled Breach, and you play your Unruled Breach and your LED, and you win the game. It's really, really good. So yeah, great combo there. Only have 25 land. You don't really need more land. You have everything that you need in your land here. These lands are super great, super OP. You'll notice that I have Urza Saga. Urza Saga targets, of course, they're all the basic good targets, except for Vexing Bauble is one that I have in there as well. The great thing about Vexing Bauble is Vexing Bauble protects you. So like your 3 defense cards here are Conqueror's Flail, Planar Chaos, and Vexing Bauble. Now, Vexing Bauble and Planar Chaos work the exact same way with Krark. You cast a spell, let's say it's free. Vexing Bauble wants to counter it. Because they're your triggers, you can stack it to where your Krark trigger resolves first. So your Krark trigger says no, it goes back to your hand, and the Vexing Bauble counter will fizzle. Same with Planar Chaos. So the nice thing about this is you're playing around your own stacks pieces. So these are phenomenal in the deck. These cards have won me so many games, which is pretty fantastic. Like Planar Chaos isn't good enough to counter, because it's going to sacrifice itself. So you're either going to win through it or slow the game down enough to where you have all your resources that you need to win when it goes away. That's the beauty of Planar Chaos. And then Conqueror's Flail, of course, it's amazing. It's like the Grand Abolisher effect in colorless, and the best target to put it on is your Bowmasters. That way, if someone else plays a Bowmasters, your Bowmasters doesn't die to their Bowmasters ETB, which is pretty goated. So that's what I like to do a lot. Anyway, Decklist is really fun. Planar Chaos, Vexing Bauble, don't sleep on those cards. They're really, really good. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, wow, only 3 tutors? It's pretty crazy. You don't really have much like interaction when it comes to counter spells. You only have a few of them. Well, it's because all of them that I have are absolutely broken. Like Mindbreak Trap, you're going to get 2 of them on the stack. Mental Misstep, you're going to get 2 of them. You're going to get 2 Force of Wills if you have cards to get rid of. Flusterstorm, Brain Freeze, Grape Shot, they have Storm, and the way that Storm works with Krark is you cast Brain Freeze, and then the Storm trigger goes on the stack, and the Krark trigger goes on the stack. You can have them go in whatever order you want. And a lot of times I'll be like, here, I'll have the Krark trigger on the stack first. Krark trigger will send Brain Freeze back to my hand. Well, guess what? That doesn't matter because Storm trigger is still on the stack, and the Storm trigger will still happen. So if you have like 3 blue mana, you actually want to cast your Flusterstorm and target someone's spell, and you actually hope that you lose the coin flip. Like heads I win, tails you lose, because I get it back to my hand, I can cast it again, and now you have to deal with the storm count multiple times. It's really, really good. And then on top of all that, if someone else casts a tutor and I have a fork in my hand, cool. I could copy it. Now I have a tutor. Like, let's say they're like Green Sun Zenith. They're gonna go get a Seaborn Muse, X equals 5 or whatever. And then you're like, all right, cool. I'll cast a fork, and I'm gonna go get 2 cards. 2 creatures, X equals 5. I'm gonna go grab a Stormkill Artist and an Archmage Emeritus or an Ashling's Flame Dancer, any of your combos here, and then all of a sudden, you're going to win the game now. It gets pretty nuts. Like, you can have, let's say you had like a Flare Duplication and a fork in your hand, right? Let's say Krark says yes to the fork. Now you go get Stormkill Artist with a copy of fork targeting their tutor. Stormkill Artist resolves. You then sack your Krark to your flare with your Flare Duplication to before your original fork resolves, and then you target the fork with your Flare Duplication. So now you have infinite Magecraft triggers, and your Stormkill Artist is on the field. Now you have infinite treasures, and then you get to go get 2 more creatures. So now you go get like an Ashlings or whatever you want to go get here. Make infinite. You can do so many things here, is all I'm trying to say. And if you have more cards in your hand to cast afterward, it just gets even more and more disgusting. Like, absolutely foul. You can have a Krark out, and let's say you cast Krark and you cast SIlas, or you cast Krark and they killed Krark, so you've cast Krark twice. You cast a Fury Storm. When you cast Fury Storm, it makes 2 copies of it, or 1 copy for each time that you've cast your commander from the command zone. So you can get infinite Magecraft triggers if you've cast Krark and you cast Fury Storm. Whether or not Krark says yes to the coin flip does not matter. You make infinite Magecraft triggers. They have to stop you there before the coin flip, which is why it's so great. And you can use this effect with like Twin Inferno, Teach by Example, Dual Strike, and Dual Casting as well. So this deck's very flexible. You can make copies of other people's, like, we don't have access to silence, but we do have access to increasing vengeance. Actually, increasing vengeance doesn't work here, because that's this one right here only copies your instance and sorcery spells. Same with dual casting, but all the other ones like Fury Storm, Reiterate, Return the Favor, Reverberate, Fork, these all make copy expansion. These all make copies of opponents' things as well. So if they cast a silence, well, here's a Reiterate, and I'll silence you as well. So now everyone's silenced. Your turn is now over, right? Return the Favor, by the way, pretty crazy. You can, like, if someone casts a Thoracle, you can Tainted Pact, cast Return the Favor, copy their Thoracle trigger, yours goes on the stack and resolves first, you win the game. Like, you can do so many crazy things by copying triggered abilities. So yeah, it's pretty fun. This deck is very flexible and it's very fast. It has the ability to go very, very, very fast, or it has the ability to play the slow game, and it has the ability to win on top of the stack at instant speed. This deck is super meta. It does everything that you want a meta deck to do, which is why I think it is one of the most well-rounded decks in the format. It can literally handle anything, and it can go head toe-to-toe with anything. Anyway, try it out. Let me know how you do with it. Let me know what you think. If you think there's any crazy changes or cards that I'm completely sleeping on, let me know. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in Discord. And oh yeah, by the way, in Discord, if you guys haven't joined the Discord, add me on Discord. CEDH time is one word. Just send me a friend request. I'll send you a link to Dragon's Belly CEDH time, where we are going to be doing tournaments, and we're going to be doing deck brewing, and we're going to be playing spell table games and meeting more people. So it's pretty fun. Come hang out with us in the Discord. See you guys.